Back at it, homies. Got this fan to knock out. So I'm gonna sell this one, but I'm gonna steal a fan because this fan was like 200 bucks. Because no one's gonna pay me for a used shroud with a fan, right? Maybe, who knows? All right, so we got this guy. We welded the top on. We still gotta stitch the corners and make it lay. So what I did is I went and ordered that foam, that like high density. It's a silicone foam that I find on McMaster Car, and it's like high temp resistant. I think it's good to like 400 degrees Fahrenheit and below 100. And it is called, if you go under McMaster Car and type in foam strips, then you'll be able to pull it up. And there's two different types. One's only good to like 200 degrees, which is kind of what this fan is going to see on a regular basis, and it's a bit cheaper. But if you go down that column, you'll find one that's a silicone based, which goes up to I think 400-ish, I think it said, and was only like I think 25 or 30 bucks for 10 feet, which will do it. And it is a little bit thinner. It's like a ½ inch thick, which is a little bit, I think the other stuff was thicker than that. Maybe it was a ½ inch thick, and that's half. I don't know. But anyway, and that will go on the base, and that will sit against the fins and give us a nice sealing surface. And then what we'll do is we'll take, these are the little Monkey Fab 1/4-20 standoffs that we sell on the website at monkeyfabgarage.com. That's monkeyfabgarage.com. And we're going to tack one on either side here and here. And then we're going to make a little bracket that has a hole in it that will bolt in a hole. Does that make sense? Little bracket thingy sticking this way with a hole in it, little bracket thing sticking this way with a hole in it. This will bolt to keep that on. In the bottom, we will just weld on a piece of aluminum that's bent that will just cup the radiator fan shroud. After we get the foam on, we'll measure it out, bend it, weld that onto the actual radiator, and then it'll be just drop it down, lift it back, put in the 2 bolts, and it'll be good. Maybe I'll put 2 on the bottom. Be crazy. Just overkill. Over engineering. Yeah, so we got to weld all that stuff up. So I'm going to be doing that, and you don't care about that. So we'll get back to you once we are done. Bam. So we got that guy done. We just welded the little pieces on. Put a little, what do you call it, standoff. So we'll just make a little tab that'll hold this guy in place. So we're just waiting for the foam to sit on there. We can go ahead and get the fan pulled off and mounted. All we do here is just set it on the shroud, drill the holes, not on the radiator, and bolt it down. And then it will be good. Just waiting for our little foamy insulation insulator slash gasket kind of maker to bolt this guy down to here, and then we can make our little tabs that hold this guy, and we'll just do like a little lippy on the bottom, so you can just slide it in, and then we'll just drop it in, just drop them like this, and then that, and then as you bolt it down here, it's locked in place on 3 sides, blah 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 blah. It's easy. Everybody should be doing it. It's true, a little bit anyway. So we're waiting on gasket foamy stuff for, whoops, got a wire in there, for the radiator, so we can finish up that so we can get it mounted. But I did get head gaskets for this guy, and I got those fancy ported heads, so I'm going to go ahead and swap the heads out on this guy for our fancy new ported and polished heads. I also have, I was reusing the gasket on this guy, and it was pretty thick. It was like a 80 thou compressed deck height Cometic gasket that I just had laying around. So the stock one is 50 thou, so we get a little tiny bump in compression, as well as, well, they were decked a little bit to make them nice and flat, so we'll probably get a decent little bump in compression. But what we need to do is pull off all the lifters, rocker arms, yeah, all that stuff, and swap the heads out. Yeah, so let's get with disassembling and reassembling this guy, and I also have to get this guy in the car. So once I get that stuff that I've been mocking up kind of sorted with the fan shroud, then I'm gonna need to get the engine up into the car, you know, so I can run the wires and get all the rest of the stuff mocked up. So here we go. Everything's going pretty good. No massive failures yet. We have the head gasket right meow. It is copper spray gasket curing. The old one is meow. You see it's a, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's got like a little thicky boy, little thick guy in the middle there that was making a little bit more compression. So we're going to swap these heads, man. Look how, ooh, they're so sexy. They're so shiny. As opposed to these old guys, these old beat up heads, non-ported. See that? Lots of ports, and porting things. So yeah, we'll get the other head off, spray the other gasket, and then slap it back on. It's just that easy. We got the new heads on the motor. Everything looking good, and just gotta torque them down. So yay, hooray, let's torque them down. They're so fancy. Lots of breathies, lots of breathy boys. Bam, we're done, kind of, sort of. But check this out, check this stuff out, man. So when these guys get ported, they do porting stuff. They drill and grind and whatevs. But one thing you got to realize is, you guys see that? You see that bolt hole on the rockers? Boop. Can't see. I can't tell if you can tell or not, because it's hard to see with this thing. Let's turn this around. Okay, so no light, oop, light, no light, light. So the basic idea is when you put this guy in, you need to put a little bit of sealant on that one, on that one, on that one, and on that one, just to make sure that no oil leaks through your intake. And you get the oily combustion. You don't want that. I do know a guy that just smashed it in there without doing that, and it gave him no problem. But we're gonna put some stuff in there anyway, because that's what we do. Boy, look at this stuff, man. Look at this stuff. This has got me so hyped that I don't know what to do. So what I'm trying to do with the new build is make it as easy as possible to work on the car. So I want to put things in a way that, you know, you're building basically like a race car theory, so that if you have to change plugs or do whatever, everything is simple to get to. And that's why I went with the Joey Fowler Speed and Performance cast stainless steel manifold. This thing is gorgeous, and it makes rooms for the plugs. And I'll be able to run a stock manifold on the other side and loop it around, which will make it easier for the steering column. And I'm going to try to hang this guy on the passenger side. You'll see this is a VS Racing. I think this is it's so hard to keep up with the gens now, but I think there's a new one out with like a fancy propeller that's supposed to be even better than this guy. But he keeps dropping new stuff on us, so it's hard to keep up. This is probably an 800 to 900 compressor all day long. The problem with my car, like I've said before, was the exhaust housing. It's a 0.96 AR, I believe. So I called up Varin. And I said, hey bro, I have the old first generation 78, 75 ball bearing turbo. Do you have a cast back housing for it? And larger, because I saw he had this for another deal he's doing. And he says, "Oh yeah," and I said, "Well, here's what I'm doing with it." And I gave him the specs, you know, the ported heads, this camshaft, 5.3. What do you think? And he's like, "Bro, this is gonna be perfect for you." So here is kind of the side-by-side comparison. It is, you can just kind of look at the girthiness of that guy versus this guy, and it should be pretty apparent. See how narrow this guy is right here versus this guy. This guy's made to flow more. I think the impeller, I mean, they're both billet. They're both billet. Well, this guy's got less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this guy's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. However, there's like another kind of fin underneath that one, so different design, a little bit different design. Bigger opening here. It's like a 3-inch versus like a 2.5 inch. I did polish this guy. It kind of looked okay. These guys are, so this boy is a divided and this is an open. What I'm going to do is we're going to score this guy right down the center, and we're going to take one of these mini fancy die grinders, and we're going to just V it out so it just flows better. And as the air comes in, it's because it's all coming, you know, through the same manifold, it will just split and it won't hit this as a wall and heat up. It'll kind of the way it's supposed to. And yeah, and then the exhaust boys on these guys, I would say they look pretty similar, but I don't know. I'm not really a turbo guy. I mean, I am a turbo guy, but I'm not a knowledgeable turbo guy. Like, I did once learn how to do the compressor math, but I don't think I did it right. So anyway, happy. This guy should flow quite a bit more. This is a 4-inch, I believe, as opposed to a 3, or maybe this guy was one of those 3 5/8 boys. I don't know. It was, I guess you can check mic. You just delete this shit out. 3-inch ID. So yeah, that was a 3-inch, and then this guy is a 3, yeah, about 3.5 inch, so a little bit bigger. Yeah, so excited, get this guy on, make all the boosts. This guy. So plans for the day include working on the air conditioning system. We're just going to kind of fumble through it as we can. We're still missing, like I said, some stuff to hang stuff. But what I need to do is get everything mounted, run the lines, both the coolant lines, the AC lines, and the electrical lines, get everything kind of sort of in place, drop the motor in, and start mocking up what we need to do to get the exhaust through, and then look at how we're going to run everything to where it needs to be. So quite a bit of stuff to do, but we're just going to take it a little bit at a time, and I will show you what we're doing as we go along. So yeah, hope you enjoy.